just want to show you a problem I noticed here, and how we can rectify that. So first we need to unpack this with the RBD unpack. Okay, and then grab an exploded view and look at the geometry. And then if we go like that, you can see we've got all these kind of unconnected points. And I'm not sure exactly why. It's some kind of results from this Boolean that we've done. So what it means is the constraints won't be, we'll have constraints connecting these points to other bits of glass, and it'll be a bit of a mess. And what we need to do is basically clean this geometry, get rid of those points. Okay, so you can see this clean node will remove unused points. So you can see we've got, will it tell me how many points is cleaned? If we go, I do that. So we got 725,616. We got a lot less, about 125,000 less. Okay, so we'll just need to generate those constraints again. So before we do that, actually, I'm just going to use this RBD connected faces. So this is a bit unrelated to what we're talking about. We'll use this geometry for the proxy geometry. So we'll just ignore the constraints coming out of VFX. We'll make them again. Okay. So what this connected faces does is it's useful. We use that for when you have transparent fractured geometry. You can see it's running through a for each loop there. So it's generating an attribute looking at faces which are connected to different pieces, but they are very close to each other, and generating an attribute based on that. I need to escape that. I want to turn off this create constraints. We'll make the constraints ourselves. Let that run through. You can see it's got quite a bit to go through. All right, so that's done now. Did take a while, but yeah, what it will do is basically in the render, you want, there'll be primitives between these pieces of glass, and when that's rendered, you'll see that primitive there. So basically, it will delete those primitives when they're close together, and then when this glass breaks and they come apart, they'll be they won't be deleted. So you'll see the edge of the glass there. Okay, so we'll come to that after the simulation, and it'll be a bit more clear. So let's make constraints again. So RBD constraints from rules. Connect that up there. So these can be center of mass, that's fine. But for this, I'm going to use this cluster so that we only get pieces within each pane, and use that class attribute. Okay. And I don't want too many constraints. We just need, obviously it's glass, super fragile. So I drop this search point to 1. Let's just run that. There we go. So you can see the visualizer here. When a piece is darker, it means it has it's constrained to something, and they're all dark. Okay, so they're all constrained, and you can kind of see it there. If I put it onto wireframe, we got a constraint system within each pane of glass, which is what we want. So because this took a while, and the constraints to some extent as well, let's do another cache on this in RBD IO this time. So the proxy will go in there, and then the constraints as well. Again, save current frame, and then we'll grab what we're doing, glass frac, and then we'll say glass frac sim. Save to disk, load from disk, and getting closer to simulating this.